On dating apps, what are you seriously looking for from a profile? Story 1: Genuine interests. Not just food, wine, and travel. Pretty much everybody likes those things. Saw a profile of a guy who had at least a dozen books about pumpkins. Sadly, he was a bot, but I would have loved to listen to him talk about pumpkins. Story 2: Here are the 5 things I look for. 1. Shirtless mirror selfie shows confidence right out of the gate. 2. A picture of you holding a fish. A man that can hunt. Nice. 3. Multiple group pictures. I like guessing which one you are. Big fan of puzzles. 4. A bio that isn't filled out and says just ask mysterious. It's like clickbait for a person. 5. A hat and sunglasses in every photo. If I see hair or eyes, swiping left. Story 3: A lack of bitterness. An overall positive vibe. Can't tell you how many people ruin their profiles with things like who even reads this or moaning about online dating or whatever. Story 4: Recent pics. It blows my mind how many guys put old pictures. Last guy I dated looked nothing like his pics. Please recent pics. Please state honestly if you have children. Essentially the same stuff you would want a female to post. Vague isn't cute. I know guys like to seem mysterious, but just be upfront. Story 5: Recent pictures. Take a car selfie if you need to, that's fine. But take off your sunglasses. Fill out the profile. The almost blank profiles are so low effort. When we match, engage with me, I always read the profile and ask a question unique to it, but I expect he does the same. I refuse to hold the entire conversation for more than 1 to 2 rounds. If you're low effort in the convo, you are getting deleted. Story 6: From what I've seen and heard from women, they want a full profile, real pics, face and full body, not the fishing pic, not the blurry group shots. Just show who you are, say something real in your bio, let her get a glimpse of your mind, your vibe. That I like food and travel line doesn't hit. When you message, don't just say hi or drop a one-liner. Most women are getting flooded with lazy openers. Be different, be intentional, it goes a long way. Women want to feel safe, seen, and curious, so lead with that energy, you'll stand out. Story 7: I'm looking for someone to actually fill the profile and have good intentions. The profiles I see are always about hooking up, and it's a turn-off really. Story 8: This is probably a hot take, but I personally know which of my friends are objectively more conventionally attractive than me, and I wouldn't put them in the first picture in my profile. Why guys do it all the time. Story 9: Most of the pictures on men's profiles are really bad. They are blurry, too zoomed out, poor lighting, poses where the face points down, or strange photos like twerking poses. Pictures are already misleading because they are 2D trying to represent a 3D person. The lack of effort at picking good photos is a turn-off. Story 10: At this point, a clear picture of your face without sunglasses and your full body. Sometimes I wonder if the pics men choose to post are attempting to repel women. Details about you that show your personality. Some humor, no hints about past drama. Story 11: I am on a dating hiatus right now, but when I was on apps, these were things I looked for. 1. Smile in your pictures. 2. Group photos should be like 2 max. The rest should be just you. 3. Have someone else take pictures for you. Don't just have selfies, nice full body shots. 4. Fill everything out and include some humor and add your interests. 5. Tell what you are looking for and what type of person you are and what the ideal relationship for you looks like. It's nice to know your expectations. Even if it's just a hookup, just be upfront and honest. If you need help, there are subreddits for each dating app that can help review your profile and give feedback. Story 12: Women are not honest about what they want in dating. They'll say something like I just want a guy who is nice, smart, kind, honest, puts in effort, but then reject that profile without a second thought on completely other criteria, mostly looks, money, and height. Men may be shallow, but at least are honest. Story 13: Reading through these responses, and I already check most of the boxes. I must have the best profile on the app. Checks messages. Nope. Guess I'm just ugly. Story 14: Be intentional. Actually put thought into what you display. I think most men don't want to look vulnerable, but that is what draws someone in. Saying first rounds on me if you're real just shows a disinterested guy who's been through it all before. Which is fair, but keep trying. Also, for the love of God, put a well-lit photo, not you in a group shot, or holding a baby that isn't yours. Take a full mirror selfie or ask a friend to take it when you wear your favorite outfit. Sell yourself a little. Good luck. Story 15: Fill out the profile with some info about yourself and put some decent pictures up. I don't know why every guy's pics are either of them holding a fish or a selfie behind the wheel of their car. That makes me think you don't do anything and have nothing interesting to say. Story 16: Someone who seems put together, mature, who seems to try in life. I'm not a partier. I don't fish, I just want someone sensible and good. If I see someone with hunting gear or who's holding a fish, holding alcohol at a party with glazed over eyes, or who posts shirtless pics, I generally avoid. And it's important I find someone with similar values and life goals as me, and who's around the same age as me. I'm in my late 20s. I'm a left-leaning Christian. I'm college educated. I want kids. I want someone who's looking for a serious relationship, a life partner. Story 17: I'm no longer on the apps, but effort. A lot of the profiles lack effort, and it would consist of one-word answers to prompts that don't showcase personality or hobbies. Story 18: Honesty. I want honest, not filtered images. And dear Lord above, no dead animal pics or pics of your vehicle. However, please have both a vehicle and a job, or be actively looking for one. Story 19: Guys don't know or understand that women like facts, details. Spill it out, put what exactly you're looking at, be descriptive. It's not that hard, but I guess it is. Story 20 pictures of the person looking like they're having fun and or don't take themselves too seriously, something that makes me smile laugh. Enough detail that I can tell if we have some overlap in interests and values. Effort, e.g. you can tell they put thought into their profile, something that showcases their interests. Something that makes me curious to know more, or gives me something to ask about when I message them. Some easy ways to lose my interest: flexing gym selfies shirtless except if it's in context, e.g. a beach photo, dead animals. Kids' faces in their photos, although it's a massive green flag if they've blurred their face, shows they're good with kids and value keeping them safe. Story 21 on Hinge, smiles with teeth, actually answering the prompts, ask me doesn't count, something funny or interesting I can respond to, taking things IRL, asked to take me out when there's momentum. Story 22 I'm a girl in my young 20s and am not really into hookup culture, so if I see anything that says short-term fun it's an immediate no. If all of your pics are group pics of you and your boys and I can't even tell who you are, that's also an immediate no. Thing that catch my eye are 1, funny bios, 2, having a dog, 3, having more than 3 pics, 4, being tall. Story 23 I know what I'm not looking for: sunglasses on in more than one pic, swearing with fingers. What is that? So unattractive. Pics in your van or on a bed, more than one topless holiday you can understand, but otherwise I'm going to assume you're after a fling. All the pics at obscure angles. All it tells me is you think you're ugly. If we meet I'm going to see what you look like, so I'm not sure what side profiles on every pic is supposed to achieve. The same headshot on repeat, one picture. Blurry pics. We live in an age where phone cams are as good as some professional cameras, so your pics must be ancient. Guys complain women don't open the convo. Put something on the profile we can work with. An idea of how you like to spend your time or the kind of things that interest you at least. Alcohol in every pic makes you look like a lout. AI-generated images. We can tell no smiling pics. If you have a closed mouth smile on every pic I'm not risking it. You might have a mouth like you've chomped on a jigsaw. Story 24 not a girl, but genuinely I'm like 99 sure if you're hot you'll get matches, and if you aren't you won't. As long as your profile isn't like one pic of you in a banana costume. Any profile optimization helps like a tiny bit, but the deciding factor is just, are you good looking lol? Which is fair BTW. It's sort of almost the entire premise of the apps. Story 25 am I attracted to you? Can you hold a conversation? Are you generally a good person? Do you have a job career? Do you have a car? I also value education a great deal, but as long as you know what you're doing, having completed high school is fine as well. If those boxes are checked, we are looking at some great potential.
Il tell you what I'm not looking for à crépifien, ou quand talk to me like a decent human being.
Story 26 I was on a dating app a long time ago. I feel my answer may still be useful. I was looking for mutual interests and a touch of eccentricity. I also wanted to date someone with no children, as it would be unfair to everyone since I didn't want children. Looks were not at all a big deal, but a bit of a connection that way was ideal. I'd say I wanted a creative soul, also not religious. I hope that helps, but it's just me, animal lover 2 music lover. We've been married 20 years this month. Yes, that was the beginning of dating apps, so it could be crazy different now. Story 27 I just got out of dating apps a bit ago, but spent a lot of time on them. I would absolutely never consider anyone with the following. All of the photos are in sunglasses and or hats. You don't need a ton of photos, but you should have at least one that shows your entire face. Shirtless photos. I was looking for something real. If you're displaying your body, you're probably just trying to entice someone. For hunting fishing photos. Almost all of these dudes are conservative. A lot of women don't want to date folks who vote against their rights. Blank bios. If you don't care, why should I? I get hundreds of likes a day. If you can't even utter a word about yourself, you'll spend my time on someone who isn't lazy. Just seeing what's out there that might be cute if you're 18 to 21, but any older than that you should be mature enough to have an idea what you're here for and mature enough to know I'm not a what. It's not a supermarket in which you select a product off a shelf. Still figuring it out, either admit you just want, or get out of the dating pool before you hurt someone with your wishy-washy bullshit. A bio that's full of requirements instead of about him. Nobody is lining up dying to talk to you just off your face alone. You're one in a sea. Sell yourself first and then you can save your demands once you chat. Snapchat username. I'm going to judge you very hard. You have that open for everyone to add you and am too old to entertain someone who uses disappearing messages. Snapchat is for dishonest people and kids. Story 28 There are certain signs for whether he's a loser dirtbag. The range is loser, dirtbag if he doesn't give the immediate red flags. I read the bio up and down. I'm looking for character, intelligence, cleanness, trustability, conscientiousness, etc. Red flags picture of your car, other brag piece picture of you shirtless or worse picture of you smoking or smoking pot. Even if you do smoke a photo of it screams loser picture of you at the gym negative comments or warnings begging of any kind unsure vague about goals and boundaries screams sus and hookup hunter green flags picture of you dressed up at an event like sister's wedding positive thoughts comment stories poetry, etc. Picture of pets ultra green flags able to identify what your goal is, what you're looking for, and articulate your boundaries looking to start a family hoping to get to know someone awesome and see where it goes. Aside from these I think it's different for everyone. So let your personality show through so the actual right person clicks on you. Too vague blank and we want. Story 29 My profile has been complimented often enough that I like to think I've got a few aspects dialed in. I'm a pretty average-looking guy but have had plenty of success on dating apps just being me. But that involves making an actual effort to share who I am. Prompts are mostly endearingly wholesome with a slightly dark wit. Silly without reaching too far for a laugh, but finding space to offer up some of my simple pleasures as an easy entry point to break the ice. Conversationally, don't be creepy, people can't tell yet if you're joking and it's not as funny as you think. Don't be pushy or too serious. Matches don't owe you anything. Extending on that last point. You have 3 prompts or 500 characters to describe yourself. For the love of God, don't waste it on giving a list of red flags you're trying to avoid. Don't waste my time, don't lie to me, or any other wounding you justifiably where isn't really meant for first impressions. Nobody thinks of themselves as a liar or cheater, yet people do it all the time, so telling them not to isn't really doing you any favors. Be reasonably optimistic here, not to get too long-winded, but when choosing photos, avoid wearing a hat and glasses in all of them, but also avoid wearing a sutras formal wear in all of them too. I find people who make their entire profile a hit list of their best formal fits are kind of inaccessible as anything other than a museum-grade specimen who never puts on sweats and a hoodie, some formal, some sporty, some street. It gives the viewer some concept of what you might look like in the wild. Which again, when you have a 15-second audition, appearing dynamic and varied is crucial. Story 30 Leftist. No kids don't want kids, monogamy. Within 5 years of my age on either side this eliminates 90 of men. Then we'd out any smoker, mention of church Jesus, or sports obsession, of the maybe 10 guys left match with the cutest nerd. Story 31 As a girly pop, you'd be surprised how little women care about certain things. Girls who are obsessed with tall dudes have no clue unless they are also tall. My ex was 66 and it was awful. I thought he was 61 when we started dating BC, that's what he told me. I've met dudes who were with girls who like tall guys and they were 59. Not good judge of height like how dudes often are good judges of women's weight, at least in my experience. Most girls just want someone taller than them in heels or platforms. Be strong enough to pick up an average size girl. That doesn't mean be fit. Have a good personality. That means working on yourself. Always be actively working on yourself. Learn how to be proactive and do what you say. This will improve your whole life. We don't care about your girlfriend from 4 years ago who manipulated you. Dudes like that will expect you to get over your ex who hit you 4 months ago. Don't be that guy. Be you. But girls don't like that. See the third. There's a reason why girls don't like that, and it's not BC you're the only nice guy ever. But if you show off who you are and not oh I have to try to look more attractive, we get a sense of you and that's attractive. Be confident, not cocky. Be graceful. If you expect something from a girl you're not getting it. Be hopeful and accept it if it doesn't work out. Understand you are not your type and understand that there is someone out there for you. Don't settle BC someone shows interest. The amount of men who date women they don't like BC they don't think they have options is why a lot of women think men don't bring anything to a relationship. But don't always look for the next best thing. You'll never be happy. For God's sake brush your teeth. In my 25 years of life every man I've ever met does not brush their teeth twice a day at times that makes sense. EW, be hygienic. The way you treat your partner will dictate your relationship with them. Treat them well, they should treat you well. If they don't leave, it's the same with women. All of this stuff is easy when you're trying to better yourself as a person, not for a relationship. Keep that in mind. Also, there's a reason why a ton of women love Danny DeVito, and a reason why Adam Gomez is like the shiny sparkly man of our dreams. Put your face in your pictures. I don't want group shots where I can't tell which one you are. I don't want photos of you from far away. I don't want a meme. I don't want pictures of a pizza you had one time or you on a motorcycle with a helmet on or you from behind. I want to see what your face looks like so I can determine if I'm attracted to you. You have max 6 photos to attract me and I'm not swiping if I can't tell if you're hot or not. I have this specifically in my profile and guys will argue with me that they use non-face pics to show their interests. Those come through in the conversation. Dating apps are initially about physical attraction. Just show me your face. Story 32 I think the only thing that matters is how you look. Not even in real life. Just the pictures. Could put together the best profile ever but you'll be beat by the better looking guy who put no effort in the profile every time. Story 33 Most girls on the app feel like they use it as some kind of ego check. It feels rude to say, but I feel like I am a performer trying to woo an audience at these apps. I am a decently good-looking dude, and I am only going after similarly attractive women. So I am not shooting after something I can reach, and I have clearly mentioned interests. Cooking, hiking, hockey, running, brewing my own beer, I take dancing lessons, etc. Maybe not unique interest, but there are things to ask about if you want to know stuff. But most girls have empty profiles with no info, and unless you make up an interesting opener and drive the conversation forward, nothing is going to happen. If I just swipe and never start the conversation myself, I get maybe one hi every 2 weeks from the girls I match with. If someone actually reads my profile and makes a unique opener based on any of my pictures or my bio, the girl is already a unicorn. Sure, you'll find women here who state otherwise, but the vast majority are hard to get into contact with. Different problems. Story 34 Photos. One pic makes me think you're a catfish or just not that into the whole thing. Please have more than one. Then the bios, I swear, a little effort goes so far. You don't need to write a novel, but give me something. Story 35 Realistically, girls are the worst people to ask. Same way it's unrealistic to ask guys what they're looking for. Statistically, 95% of profiles women swipe on are men advertising heights over 6 foot or income over 6 figures. both of which are extremely. Same thing with guys swiping more on pictures of unrealistically attractive women, even if the rest of the profile is blank. Everyone will say they're looking for a properly detailed description, someone who shares their interests, or something similar, but everyone is lying. Story 36. I'm 43F, just re-entering the dating world. The amount of men my age or late 30s early 40s looking for short-term relationship are disheartening. How are you losing your hairline but you still don't want a relationship? It kills me. Also, all the profiles where they're wearing sunglasses, I wonder if they're hiding a lazy eye under there. Story 37. Something that shows personality. I don't need to know that physical touch is your love language. Also looking for answers at least a sentence long. Tell me what you nerd out about, what are you currently watching and which character you hate. Story 38. A real profile. Not an ad for. I want to see real things about you like your hobbies, motivations, and passions. I'm looking for someone I genuinely would enjoy being around and therefore want to see that you have a personality, not see your mirror pics. A huge reason I swipe left is if they don't have a compelling written profile. Small answers aren't interesting. I want to know about your passions in detail. Story 39. A guy who's in my age bracket, let's say 32 to 42, a little alternative, doesn't want kids, has a job, and has hobbies and interests he can discuss or we can share, not just sports, fishing, cars, or investing. There's nothing wrong with those interests. I just find them really boring and I'd rather watch paint dry than go to a car show. I've also historically only dated guys who like heavy music, which I guess you could say is my main interest. If you're wondering, yes, I looked for many years before I found someone who meets my criteria. Story 48. Clear photo of face and general shape of the body, preferably under daylight, not a million selfies, good humor, ability to form a coherent thought demonstrating free will, an education or a job, some personality, at least throw in a quote that places you somewhere, like Yu-Gi-Oh or Talladega Nights, just something. Clear intention. Mixed messages are a turn-off and can be sensed a mile away. Story 41. The problem with these questions is they target the audience that you're least likely to encounter. Those who respond are the ones you're looking for, yet unlikely to actually encounter. I don't have a good answer, or even a good comment. I just think these questions are frankly lazy. When you're asking what is potentially millions of people, you need to make sure your question is well enough crafted to elicit the answers you're seeking. Story 42. Lots of these are already giving good advice. I'd like to add, please actually be passionate about something, or many things. The nonchalant mid-attitude about everything makes me immediately understand that someone either doesn't have hobbies of their own or just doesn't have much in their life to care about. Doesn't matter what it is, honestly. You could be super into native plants in your area, and then at least the person matching with you has something to talk to you about. And when someone asks you about your hobbies, please, for the love of God, do not seem annoyed to be asked about them. I matched with someone once who was into foraging. I asked them about foraging because I've never done it before but was interested. They were nearly offended that I even asked about it at all or mentioned it at all when it was all over their profile. Most importantly, be honest. Even if you want to sway your interests or anything so that you come off as more likable to the person you match with or want to match with, it'll come out eventually that you feel a certain way about things, so just come out of the gate like that, looking at all the guys and their political views. You can find plenty of women who think the same way as you. It'll save everyone the heartbreak down the line if you're honest. Story 43. I pay a lot of attention to prompts and the written portions of people's profiles, which I find frustrating because most people don't write anything in them. Most just have 3-word generic answers like food and travel. I usually skip people who don't show much personality on their profiles regardless of how physically attractive they are. I'd rather match with an average-looking guy that shows a nice personality on their profile than someone that looks good and shows no effort. And I tend to associate the later with a man that is not looking for anything serious and is just there to get laid. Sometimes if they don't have prompts but have pictures that showcase their personality like funny pics, cosplay, or show similar interests to mine, I will like and match with them. Sadly, the vast majority of profiles coming my way seem to be good-looking men with no personality. It's almost like profiles made by bots. The algorithm is showing me people like this, but I never like that sort of profile, so yeah, I hate the algorithm and I hate dating sites in general. Is a cesspit of superficiality and promiscuity which makes me very frustrated. That being said, I have never had a relationship with someone I've met on a dating site. All my relationships were with people I started out seeing as friends. Story 44. Statistically, your question is irrelevant if you aren't a top 5 man. Improving your profile doesn't matter if you aren't hot. And assuming you are, then from the comments, as long as you post a clear picture and don't leave the fields blank, you're 75 of the way there. Story 45. On top of everything that's already been said, recent photos, actually responding to prompts, etc., but please put more than what roles you essentially want women to fill in your life, like looking for a +1 to my buddy's wedding or passenger princess, etc. Like that's fine if you want those things, but dating apps are a way to meet someone to date, not a way to skip everything and get to the domestic part. Show some personality, and ask them out within the first 12 hours, and if it's not a good first date, then that's all it is. Meeting someone off the apps is essentially that, meeting someone for the first time. It can be uncomfortable and risky, but since when are we all looking to skip the first 10 dates and get straight to business? Story 46. I want to get an idea who the person is. I believe you should list what are your interests, who influences you, things like this. You can also put 1 or 2 random pictures that can be something that made you laugh or some picture you took and you really like. It gives me an idea of the personality of the person. Story 47 for me personally: no weed, smoking or drugs. Prompts that are kind and intelligent but not overbearing. Clear pictures where I can see the face and energy. Try to avoid group pics and selfies, but 1 or 2 is fine. Story 48 personality, effort, and no group photos. There have been so many times where I've seen a guy with a group photo as their first picture where I have to guess who he is. Also, guy, please ask your female friends to look over your profile. Men do not know what is a flattering photo or not, and I think it seriously hinders their ability to get likes on dating apps that specifically rely on first impressions looks. Story 49 the truth is if you aren't doing any of these things people are commenting with, which of course these are all obvious red flags, that doesn't mean you are getting to match with anyone or get likes if you have recent pictures. If you fill out the prompts, if you engage with thoughtful messages, have someone look it over, get a girl to take and or pick out pics, it still doesn't make a difference, so what are we actually supposed to do? Story 50 it's going to be wildly different from girl to girl. Hey race, the real problem. Women get matched like 1001 for the average dude, I think. On your profile just ask if you can go do fill in the blank, then you will maybe match with someone who thinks you're cute enough and will enjoy whatever you proposed on your profile. If you like shooting pool at dive bars, then say let's go shoot pool at a dive. If you like bike riding, then say let's go on a bike ride. If you like hiking, say, can I show you my favorite hike? I think you get the idea. Then you just swipe yes on every single person until you get some matches, then you can decide if you should message or actually invest time. I tried serious dating profiles, sarcastic ones, a mix of both. It wasn't until I said, can we go to a rave together, that I matched with my now wife who only had 3 emojis alongside her pictures. Obviously our first meetup wasn't a rave, but it was known early on that this was something we both enjoyed doing, and gave us an easy common ground before any messages were even sent. Story 51 I want 4 photos minimum. 1 nice face with smile. 2 full body. 3 doing something active to show you have interests. 4 doing something with friends to show you have friends. I want a few thoughts in your profile that prompt an easy conversation starter, something cheeky but honest. Example: Star Wars, Star Trek, Empire Strikes Back is best film ever, but I'd be happy to discuss the merits of The Lord of the Rings. Dogs rule, cats drool. I'll be happy to share my French fries with you, as long as you're open to sharing some of your hot fudge sundae with me. Story 52 job, college degree, interests that align with mine, whether you have kids, smoke, drink, do weed, etc. Pictures from multiple angles showing full body and face hair, intentions with being on the app, long term, short term, hookup, etc. Story 53 similar interests to me. Also, if your life is your dog, I'll pass. Please fill out the prompts with actual answers, because the more info I have, the more likely I am to initiate a conversation and have a direct question about an interest instead of just asking how your day is going. Story 54 things that signal compatibility, like taking care of yourself, knowing how to look good in pics, no potato phone pics, traveling and other activities. A bunch of pics in your bedroom say you don't really do much. Story 55 too many men take photos of themselves where the camera is like pointing up at them while they're sunken into a couch. Post a photo in a nice button up and good lighting or something that shows effort. Story 56 1 group photo max. Make it obvious who you are and don't make it your first photo. Sunglasses, I have them in a photo, but like group photos, keep it to 1. You can tell a lot about a person from the eyes, and it feels sketch if you have a profile where you can't see them at all. Show yourself as yourself, don't try too hard. They can be selfies, candids, whatever, just don't be cringe ASF. Also middle finger pictures, tongue out pictures like that. Who is into that, but everyone I know cringes and goes left. Fill out your profile, that means the bio. And in it, don't be like, oh I hate bio so ask me, come on man, show you give half a. On Hinge, answer the questions prompts. Woo plus, don't just put periods or commas, say something, etc. Who wants to initiate conversation with someone they know nothing about, and be neutral to positive. None of the last try on here. Why am I here? Lol, ready to give up? We're all there, bro. Nobody is going to give you a pity swipe. It makes you look bad. Put your profession, even vaguely, if you work in public service. Say that military, say that School of Hard Knocks, bruh. It wasn't funny in the 45 other profiles I saw it on. It's not funny on yours either. I get along best long term with people that work in my field or in professions adjacent to it. I need to know what you do. I personally don't give about money or what you make. I just need to make sure our schedules and personalities will work. Back to photos. If you have a photo, group, or with another person, and that person people are females, I'm going to assume that's the kind of woman you are into. If it doesn't align with what I look like, it never does. I'm swiping left because I'm assuming I'm not your type. If you swiped on me first, I'm going to assume you just want to use me as a hookup, secret recreation only, and not want anything serious. I don't want to be the odd one out of you and your friends, their SOs. I type how I talk, but hopefully this helps. Just take it a little seriously if you're actually looking to date. Obviously have fun with it, but don't make it ridiculous where you're not taken seriously, or really cringy. Story 57 some clue that you're more into being true to yourself than masculinity signaling. Some overlapping interests, some self-care and health habits, some evidence that you both know how and willingly engage in basic housework. I'd be more likely to match with a pic if you're doing dishes than waving a fish around. If you just cook the fish, that's different. I don't want a Calvin Klein model or whatever the cool thing is now. Bonus points if you exhibit creative problem solving, or a good balance between fun and frugal. I'd look for a guy who looks happy, who takes care of himself. Doesn't have to be a health nut, but I don't want to be a mommy about someone else's health. Versatility is cool because I like trying new things and love everything from camping to gardening to video games. Instant disqualifications in no particular order. You have kids, not a failure on your part. Just not the life I want. Drive a Cybertruck, MAGA, are a crypto bro. Story 58 things I found on guys' profiles that I didn't like. All group photos. I don't want to have to go through each photo figuring out which one you are. Photos where you only wear hats or baseball caps. I'm going to assume your hairline is receding or you're bald. Honestly, it doesn't matter at all. Confidence and owning it is attractive. You don't know how many times I got hatfished. No effort in putting their personality in their prompts. I'm a foodie. I'm looking for a passenger princess. Profiles where all the photos are professional-looking photos where you're in an activity, with friends, or doing an interest are much more interesting. Don't be boring. This is an immediate ick for me. Interested in short-term relationships, open to long or figuring out my dating goals. Yeah, no thanks. Story 59 back when I used dating apps, I found myself scanning for some small clue that proved to me the guy was humble and genuine. I didn't count cliché things like imposing with his dog, since those could be easily used to give off a false image. Instead, I looked for subtle details like whether his eyes were smiling along with his mouth versus a posed, self-aware smile, whether he included less flattering pictures that were informative like him doing his favorite hobby even though he might not look perfect, or whether he mentioned his values. I also like really smart guys, but not I graduated with a 4.0 from Harvard Business School smart, more like I'm wise enough to understand that kindness is more important than self-aggrandizing smart. I'm talking Dumbledore or Picard level wisdom. Unfortunately, I can count on one hand the number of people I've met in life who meet these criteria. Story 60 for the love of God, stop with the AI photos. If you like to complain about women using filters, this is the most obvious and cringe one men use. Also, if you post your Instagram, make sure it's public. I'm not requesting to follow you, then inevitably forget I did just to find out I'm not into it. Story 61 guys complain constantly about women being too selective, but genuinely, just putting the bare minimum effort in will immediately put you in the top 10 of men on dating apps. A good mix of photos that give a clear idea of what you look like and some of your personality. A thoughtful bio, fill out all of the fields. And then when you match, put the effort into holding a conversation, ask questions, and answer meaningfully. I filter out so many guys who I'd otherwise be attracted to because they just won't put any effort in.